Okay, I'm outside and I'm getting ready to spray paint my frames where my mirrors go in. And this is going to be a project for my wall in the bedroom. It's going to be covered in glass, and this is a project that I am working on. These are my frames. I ordered them offline from the dollar store, Dollar Tree actually. This is the paint and primer that I will be using because those are my colors. Actually, this color that you see right here, if you look at it, it's a real, I don't know if you can see it real good, but it's a real pretty silverish gray color. That's the color, along with this color, that's the coordination for the bedroom that I will be doing, my bedroom. I've got some white ones over here. I think I ordered about 60 of these, and I will leave everything in the description box below. But these are the frames that I have. Some of them are white, some of them came in black, and some of them came in gray. My main thing is to make sure that they're all the same color. So the black ones, I am going to use the white primer and spray on it before I put my color on there to make sure that they are all the same color. Because sometimes when you spray paint over different colors with a certain color, it comes out looking a little different. So I want all of them to have the base of the white, the ones that I just showed you, and then I'm going to color over it with this spray paint. I got this from Home Depot, Rust-Oleum Universal Metallic all surface. So this is a paint and primer I'm going to be using. It is called Age Rust. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and spray paint them, and then I will go over the rest of what I'm going to do. So if you want to stay tuned to see how the finished product turns out with the frames first. It's a step-by-step process. So once I finish with the frames, then I'll put them back in the mirrors. Then I'll put the mirrors back in them, and then I'll begin the other half of the project. So stay tuned. Okay, this is what my frames look like now. I haven't gotten all of them spray painted. That's what they look like, and I'm going to go over it, some of the parts, but it's a real glossy, shiny. I'm going to go over it. These are some more that I have that I've spray painted. They all came out looking good. Now, if you see, the black ones are still not done yet, for the simple fact I did spray over one. I said I was going to do the white over them and then go back with my color. I just tried one out to see, and I can tell it's a big difference in the color. This is almost brown compared to, let me pick it up and show you. This is the color that it's supposed to be, like a copper color, but if you put it up and look real close, it's like a dark brown color over that black. So that's what I was telling you. You get two different colors if they're not coordinated to come out with the same color. And it's a big difference. One of them look black. You can see it real good right there. So what I'm going to do, all those are finished. Most of it is finished. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and spray paint all those black. I'm sorry, the black ones, all of them white with the primer. And then I'll go back and spray paint it with my spray paint, so I won't waste spray paint. Now, I'm not going to really deal too much with spray paint in this video. If you want to see videos on how I spray painted it, I haven't finished with these, but these are the ones I'm working on. They turn out pretty good. Some of them were gray, some of them were white. The gray and white turned out okay, but the black, I'm definitely going to have to spray paint white and then go back over it with the copper. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll be back. Okay, you guys, now, big difference. These are spray painted all white now. They were the black ones. They're spray painted all white. And now I'm able to, I'm going to let them dry for a few minutes, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the Age Rust. I've been saying a copper color because really that's the color that my frames are. But it's an Age Rust. And this is the spray paint that I use to spray paint my frames. It's called 2x Ultra Cover Paint and Primer. Oh, I'm sorry, I was hitting the mosquito. It's a white semi-gloss. You don't have to use a gloss. I just happen to have these in my cabinet because I was going to use them on another project, but to keep from me going and buying some just basic white spray primer to cover my frames, I just used what I had, which this was my better kind, but it's okay. So that's what I use. Ultra Cover, 2 times Ultra Cover paint and primer, Rust-Oleum, white semi-gloss. You don't have to get that. Just get whatever um, paint and primer that you can use to just get what you are trying to spray paint covered. Now, I went back over these. This is real pretty. I finished these. All of these are done. You can see they're a lot darker. I'd say put a few coats on it. I didn't really count the coats. I spray painted it once. And don't worry if you spray paint it the first time and it doesn't cover all of what you're trying to spray paint. Don't trip. Just spray what you have and then go back and put some more coats on it. It's going to eventually get the color that you're looking for, but all these are done. And I've also spray painted my white ones. So now I'm letting that dry for a little bit, and I'm going to go back and spray paint it, and all my spray painting will be done. The next half of my video will be putting the mirrors back in and then showing you the canvases that I have to put these mirrors on to go behind my splashboard or the back head of my bed. If you want to see the rest of the video, just stay tuned. Okay, you guys, my mirrors frames are ready to place onto my backsplash for my bedroom. This is going to go behind my bed or maybe even in another spot. I don't know. And I'll reveal my whole room after I finish with everything and get this done and hung. But this is the canvas that I'm going to be using to actually put my mirrors on top of my frame mirrors. This is the canvas. I bought this canvas at Michael's, and this one ran $100. If you could see, it stands tall. I will give you the dimensions in a few minutes. And what I did, because I laid my mirrored frames on top of this canvas and noticed that when I put it on there, it started to sink in the middle. So I knew that I need a firm foundation for this. I spent $100 for this canvas. Buy one, get one free. A lot of you are saying, why are you going to mess up a canvas just to put mirrors on? Well, it was better for me to pay for this and much easier than to go and try to put plywood together and all of that. So this frame was the size that I actually needed to go behind the bed. So what I did, I waited till there was a sale and I bought one and got one free. So that's a good deal. And what I did, I went to Home Depot and I got the wood cut the same size. This is the process that I'm going to do. I'm going to take the art part of the canvas off. And I'm going to take that off for the simple fact that I will be doing some art pictures and things. And I'm going to cut the top part of the canvas off to use for another frame that I so choose to put the art on. But it won't be this one. I don't want to art that big. So what I'm going to do, once I take all of that off, I'm going to place the plywood on top of that and screw the plywood down with some screws. I'll give you the dimensions and where I got all that from in a bit as well. I'm going to place that on top of it. Now, I'm going to spray paint only the outside of this canvas, only the very outside, not the inside, because this will be the inside, and there's no need to spray paint the inside when all that's going to be covered up. I'll just do the very edges of it. That's all I'll do. So this is where my mirrors are going to go, and then they will be placed, after they are dried, they will be placed behind either my bed or it'll be placed behind the television. I haven't decided exactly where I'm going to place it. I'm rearranging my bedroom now, and it's going to be a surprise. I would love for you guys to see it. So if you want to see it, stay tuned to some other videos. So this is a process. I will be getting started. My frames are already dry. I'm just in the process of putting them all back in the mirrors, back into the frames. and then I'll start this process. So the thing is, once again, I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to cut the whole top part of this frame out so I could use it for an art piece instead of ruining it. And then I'm going to place this board that I got cut from Home Depot. I'm going to place it on top of it, and then once I place it on top of it and get everything painted on the outside, then the process will begin with my mirrored frames. So if you want to see the process, just stay tuned. Okay, guys, I have cut out my canvas piece from the board. So this is the board. That's how it looks now. Perfect size for my backsplash and what I need to do my project. So this is the board. I've cut all of the canvas. I just went around it. I'm going to get close where you can see it. I just went around it with a blade and just cut it off. I'm going to fix those pieces that's kind of messed up. But the frame is the part that I wanted to do my backsplash. And this is the board that I will be putting on there. This one I haven't done. I have to, like I said. So I'll be doing the same thing with this one. And placing this board on top of the frame that I just cut the piece out of, my canvas piece where you paint out of. So again, this is the board or the frame after the canvas have been cut out. There's the canvas. I'm going to roll that up, and I will definitely use that for another project. I'm going to have 2 of those because I have 2 of these, and this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to go and just basically, it's already white, which is a good thing. I don't have to put any primer on it. I'm just going to just spray paint the outside of this frame the same color that I have my frames. So this is the process, and if you want to see the finished work of both these frames, the art part cut out, just stay tuned. Okay, this is the utensil that I'm using. I did want to show you a little bit of how I'm doing this. This is the utensil that I use. It's just a box cutter. And this is the one that I haven't done. This is the frame that I haven't done. And if you press your finger along the side, you can feel actually the plywood. And so basically, all I'm doing is taking my knife and just cutting as close as I can to the side. And if you push hard enough, it'll get the edge of the canvas without cutting your board or your wood. It'll get the edge of the canvas. And if you cut deep enough, that canvas should come right up like that. So that's the process I'm going to be doing all the way around the canvas. It's nothing real hard. I wanted to show you a little bit of that to let you see what I was actually doing. Once again, take the outside of the frame and just press as firm as you can, closest to the wood as possible, and just cut it. And you see how it's cutting along the edges, and then that frame part will just pull right up. So you do that all the way around. That's the process. And this is the second one. I use this box cutter. I call it a box cutter, a razor / box cutter. This is what I'm using to cut out the canvas part where you can actually do paintings. And yes, I will be doing a painting, but not right now. I'm trying to get through this process first. So I'll be going in and cutting out all of that area. You've seen the first one that I already done, and I'll be doing that for the second one, then spray paint it. So, okay, here it is, guys. This is the second board all cut out. I left the frame laying there so you can see. Cut all around it, and the only thing I have to do is move that out of the way. That piece right there is going to make a good canvas art. And what I'll do, I'll get some smaller frames and just tack that on there, and there you have it. The plywood around it is the main thing that I wanted to do my art piece. It's going to turn out real, real good. I'm very excited about this project. Also, I'm going to go ahead and spray paint the outside of this one as well. Not into the wood, just the very outside of it where the white is. That's the part I'll be spray painting. So it'll blend in with my frames. So this is the second part of the project. The first part was spray painting all my mirror frames. Taking my mirrors out, spray painting all my mirror frames. This is the second half. Getting my canvases, finding the right size canvases, getting the canvas art part cut off, and then getting the frames. I have 2 of these, getting the frames. Putting the plywood on the frames and tacking them down with screws. And if you look very closely, this right here is where I'll be putting the screws in. This is a very firm board, piece of plywood all the way around the edges. That's mainly where I'm going to be placing the screws. I don't necessarily think I'm going to put them off in here because this is a little bit lower. See that? That's a step down. I'm just going to mainly concentrate on the outside of it. So I'll be getting the screws, putting the plywood on top, screwing it down with my drill, and then that will be the second part of this project. The very third part of this project will actually be gluing the mirrors on and getting it hung. 2 pieces. I'm going to hang them as close together as possible. I even thought, you guys, about putting the 2 frames together, connecting them on this side or this side. It doesn't matter, either side. Connecting them together sort of make a real big frame. But because the mirrors, this thing is heavy already. And when you put the frame mirrors on top of it, it's going to be even heavier. So I decided to do 2 separate ones and put it as close together as possible to make it look like one, because I just didn't want to deal with trying to put holes in my wall to try to get this thing to stay up there. So I'm going to make it as light as possible. The way I do that is just put the mirrors on there, put hooks on the back, and then hang it on the wall without it being double hung or the frames connected with all the mirrors connected. So this is going to make it a little bit lighter on the wall. And I'm actually going to put it on the wall. A lot of people, when they do the project, this kind of project, I've seen some use cardboards, and I've seen some just place the mirrors on the wall. But because if ever you decide to move or relocate, this can go with you. If you glue it on the wall, then if you leave or move or something happens, you have to leave that there. Well, I believe in saving money as much as possible. So these 2 pieces are going with me if something happened to where I have to relocate. So that's one thing you want to think about if you're not buying the home, or if you're buying it and you perhaps want to sell it and take what you have with you. Then that's a smart idea, just to make it stationary where you can move it if you want to, if you do your backsplash. All right, you guys, very excited. The third process will be putting the frames, the mirrored frames, on these 2 pieces after I put the plywood on, and then getting it hung. So stay tuned. Okay, I just finished the board, putting it on my frame, my wood frame from my canvas. Turned out pretty good. I'm going to get closer where you can see it. This is actually the screws that I put in it and the spray paint that I did. The screws worked out real well. I do want to say one thing though. You got to be real careful with these screws and drilling it into this kind of board. I forgot the kind of board I use. I don't know exactly what you would call it, but it's a kind of a lightweight, thin wood board that you could get at Home Depot. I'll try to get the name and let you know. But see here at the bottom, you got to be real careful when you're putting those screws in, because I drilled a little too far and it went all the way into that board. And it's not real thick, as you can see. This is the side. This is part of the canvas. But the board overall, it turned out pretty good. Just use caution when you're drilling. I've already spray painted the outside of it, and to be honest with you, it turned out pretty good. The only thing that I want to say as well is like I said before, that picture frame, the outside of the canvas frame is slightly heavy. It's not real heavy, but once you apply that piece of plywood on there, it's going to be heavier. So I was saying earlier, I chose the lightest weight wood that I could choose, the canvas weight that I could choose, because you will still have to put the mirrored frames on this, and the mirror frames is going to make it heavier. And my only concern now is if it's going to be too heavy to put on the wall without putting holes in it, or will I just be able to do it without the holes and just put a firm screw or something in there. Now, I don't want this to fall and break, so I'm going to mount it the way that it needs to be mounted so that it won't fall, because these are going to be mirrors on this canvas board. And like I said before, it's stationary for now, but you can move it around. If you want to take it with you when you move or relocate, you can. That's the only reason I'm doing it like this. I see a lot of people putting it on the wall and it turns out good. This is my choice to do it this way because of the fact anything can come up, anything can happen, and I want to be able to take this with me because I've invested a lot of money in it. So I have two of these that I'm doing. The other one is not quite dry on the outside. But this is the end result of putting the board onto the canvas. It turned out pretty good. My next phase is putting the mirrors back in the frames and then putting them on. That will be the finish touches of my project, and then getting it hung. So this is the other phase of my project. And my last phase is putting my mirror frames on with my mirrors in it. Already spray painted, already done. So yeah, let's just get started on that. Stay tuned if you want to see. Okay, you guys. I had ran out of frames, glass frames, picture frames for the project that I'm doing. So this is just a quick review on how I was able to get my three pieces that were lacking. I was short three frames, so I'm going to give you a quick review on how to cut the glass down to the frames that I bought. I had to go to the dollar store and buy frames, and that didn't have a mirror in it. So I bought a frame with this piece of glass right here. And then I went to another store and I bought the frame with the glass in it. This frame is not going to match the frames that I have on my wall hanging where I'm doing the mirrors with the frames on it. So what I'm going to do is just basic, simple. I'm going to cut this down to an 8x10. This, if you look at this glass, it's a lot bigger. So what I'm going to do is cut this down to an 8x10 out of this mirror so I can have my three mirrors. I went online to try to order the three mirrors from the Dollar Tree, but I could not find it anywhere. So I think this is a hot project that everybody's doing. So what I'm going to do, if you look at the back of this, it's got glue around the back. And I don't want to have to go through trying to take the glue out and then take the glass out. So this is from another dollar store that I found it out, an off-branch dollar store, not Dollar Tree, not Family Dollar, but an off-branch dollar store. And what I'm going to do is just simply break the frame out from around it. It comes off real easy. You can look at that, just break it off. And then once you get it broke, the glass slides right out like this. You got to be real careful with this glass because it's thin and it will break. I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how to cut a piece of glass and make it an 8x10. So you get the window pane or the clear glass. You put it on top of the mirrored glass. Make sure it's even. This is a box cutter that I ordered. I'll have to give you the link to all that on another video. But you can get these from anywhere offline that sells glass cutters, not a box cutter, a glass cutter. So this is how it looks. I like this one because you unscrew this part and you can put oil in it. So, but you don't cut it at first. What you do, the first thing you do, you need to mark where you're going to cut the piece. So what I'm going to do is just get a regular marker. I'm going to hold the glass firm down, and then I'm going to mark it from the top to the bottom. Like that. That's all you have to do, top to bottom. Now, I don't want to cut this piece of glass because this is like a piece that I use to measure. So I'm going to put that to the side. And I'm going to get a little small stick that's going to hold this line that I'm going to have to cut along in place. So when you're cutting glass, hold it real firmly, real firmly. And you put it on the other side of the glass, because if you put it on this side, then you're going to cut the glass a little bit bigger. So you always want to put it, this is how I do it, put it on the inside of the line. Now, I'm not a professional in glass cutting, but I did learn how to do this from YouTube channel. So I'm pretty good with cutting it now. So the only thing you need to do is put the stick down firmly. That's your measuring board. Put the stick down firmly and take your glass cutter. Start from top to bottom. And when you're cutting, you press firmly. Just go all the way down. Don't lift it up and cut. Now, I wouldn't suggest that you go back over this, but what I'm going to do, since I know how to do it, I'm just going to go back over it like that. That's simple as possible that I could give you on how to cut your glass. And this is a glass cutter. The next thing you want to do, I'm pretty good at it, but if you're cutting glass, you want to use gloves so you won't cut your finger. So you put the glass down, you measure it on the side, you put it on a firm surface that has a break off on it or an edge on it. And then you just take the glass, and what I'm going to do is slightly bend the glass, and it should cut evenly. It should break real evenly as I have cut it. See? And there is your 8x10 glass for the frame. It cut perfectly. Perfect cut. So I have 3 of these that I have already cut that's going to go inside of the frames that I had to buy to improvise. So these are the 3 pieces of glass that I cut, and they came out pretty good. I want to show you an oops on one. So sometimes they turn out like this. See that jagged edge? Sometimes they don't cut perfectly. So if you get that, I am going to use this piece for something else. I could have went back over it, but when you start going back over stuff, it just don't turn out right. And I do have a buffer that my son gave me, and I can buff this and smooth all this out. But I don't have time to do all that because I'm working on a big project, as you know. So like I said, I ran out of glass mirrored frames. So I was 3 short. I had to cut my own. So this is what I did. I used this. I bought an 8x10 that didn't have a mirror in it. It just had a piece of glass in it. This was my measuring tool. And I have my 3 pieces of glass for my remainder of the 3 frames that I have. 2 of them are very similar, and you'll see it at the end. I'll show you. 2 of them are very similar to the other picture frames that I bought, that it's just going to blend right in. You're not going to even be able to tell what I did. 2 of them were white, and 1 of them was, I think, a black color. And I just went over it with this right here. It's paint and primer. It's white, paint and primer. I went over my pieces with this, even the ones that were white, because you want a primer where the colors stick on. So I went over it with this a few times, and I'm letting it dry now. Then I'm going to go back over it with my aged metallic, which is an aged rust. Aged metallic is the aged rust. I'm going to go back over it with this, and then I'll have a perfect blend. So if you want to see the finishing touches on my 2, I call them backsplashes for my bedroom, but my 2 mirrored canvas, whatever you want to call it. It's mirrored canvas, and it has the glass pieces on it. So if you want to see the finishing touches on that, just stay tuned to my video. Okay, guys, I told you I would share with you guys what I used I don't know what happened to my other video. But this right here is the color that I use, the Age Rust. I got this from Home Depot. The knife, you can get that anywhere. I call it a box knife, but it's sort of like a razor. You can get that from anywhere. Also, the screws, I got these from Home Depot. They ran about $4 and something. The spray paint ran about $6 and something a can. And also, this is the size of the canvas that I am going to be using. I bought 2 of these. Actually, I bought one. Buy one, get one free. It ran $100, guys, as I've stated before, but you get what you pay for. And I will be using the top part of the canvas to do artwork. So it worked out pretty good. 48 inch by 60 inch, and I got 2 of these. So these are the basic products that I will be using, along with my drill. Look, guys, I've had this drill for years. You can get a drill at Home Depot. I don't know what they run now, but when I got mine years ago, I think I paid about $20 for it, but the price is going to be different because that was a long time ago. But invest in you a good drill if you like to do it, if you like doing projects. So these are the basic tools that I will be using for the project and have used. Now I am getting ready to use these screws right here and my electric drill to place the screws on my board. And I noticed it's 50 in there, so what I might do, I want to put in enough to make sure the board stays. So I might use about 25 on each board. That's what I bought them for. So 25 on each canvas board frame to make sure that it stays in place. All right, stay tuned. Okay, this is my ta-da moment. Ta-da! This is the end result of my frame canvas mirrored wall art. It turned out real good. I'm very happy about it. This is one of them. Of course, you know I'm working on 2, but this is one of them. The other one, I ran out of mirrors, as I have explained, and I had to cut 3 more mirrors out, and I could not order them off of the Dollar Tree website because they would not come up. So I did cut 3 mirrors, and then I went and bought 3 frames that would match this identically for the other one. But this is the end result of my first one. It turned out real good, and I'm happy about it. So this is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed my video. I'm very happy and very excited. Once I get it hung up, I will show you the end result of that and also give you a tour of the room that I'm putting it in. But for now, this is one of them. The other one is going to be exactly the same. I wanted to show you something real quick. If you could see at the bottom right here, I put a strip from one end to the other because I had 1 inch on each side that was left over after I glued my mirrors on. So I wanted to cover that up because the screws were showing. So I just went to Home Depot and bought a piece, I guess, of, you would call this a border piece that you put along the wall. And I got it cut to go with the length of my board, as you can see. And I have it on both sides. I made sure I had 1 inch on both sides left over. So the frames fit in there very, very nicely. You can see the nails where I put the nails in. And I'm just going to simply go back over that with, and you can see the glue too. I got a piece of glue there, but it'll dry. But anyway, this is the end result, and I'm going to go back over the nails with the spray to make sure that's covered. But this is the end result of the first mirror canvas frame wall art. And it's huge, you guys. So this is it. Give me a thumbs up if you like. If you have any more questions, feel free to make comments. Subscribe and like, and tell all your friends about it. I'm so glad you tuned in with me. This is one of my first videos that I have done, and I have several more to follow. So if you want to see other videos that I will be working on and posting or updating or uploading, whichever you want to say it, just subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And thank you guys so much. I love all you YouTubers out there, and I support everybody who follow their dream in the process of creativity. Thank you so much, and see you on the next video. God bless.